Hey everybody, welcome to my suburban oasis. My name is Soleil and I garden in a zone 5B/6A in mid-Michigan, and we're doing our Saturday morning garden tour. So I hope you'll stay tuned and walk with us as we go through the garden and talk about what's happening right now and what may be happening in the future. So all right, here we go. Well, as we start here in the potager, you can see our ornamental oregano is still going very strong. We have lots and lots of blooms, and the bumblebees are enjoying a feast of nectar. So that's really beautiful, and it smells good too, and we're starting to get some alyssum blooming in here as well. Lots of ajuga, and we're starting to get some buds that are starting to open on our firelight tidbit over here. So that's exciting. This will be the first year that we'll have had this bloom. We planted it 2 years ago, and last year it was just a quart, so it didn't really do anything. But this year it looks like we're going to get some blooms on it, so that's thrilling. And then over here we have our pink mink clematis growing on, and it is still blooming fiercely. It hasn't stopped. So this is going on 3 weeks of blooms right now. I highly recommend this one. It's a very profuse bloomer, smaller blooms than many clematis, but very prolific. So here, I'll just show you next to my hand the size of the blooms. Gorgeous one though. And our little lime hydrangeas back here. The buds are really strong on them. These are usually one of the later ones to bloom. So we'll be seeing some of those soon, and I think they'll look very beautiful around Our Lady, who has a little bit of a veil going on right now with Russian sage. But the sedum is still doing really well, that we planted in that, and I'm so pleased with how it's done. I really haven't had to tend to it much at all in terms of watering or fertilizing or anything like that, and I just think it was a good choice this year. Sometimes I pick something and I'm disappointed, but not this year. The daisies are going over in this garden bed, so we'll need to trim those back, which will be a good thing to kind of tidy it up. The Pinky Winky is getting ready to bloom. This hydrangea is gorgeous, and it's put on lots of growth this year. And I'm hoping it continues to, so that we can continue to provide that kind of coverage in front of that heat pump that we have. The tiny tough stuff is still blooming. That one's very pretty blooms. I will say we've had a lot of dry weather here, you guys. I don't know about you, but we had lots and lots of rain earlier. Ooh, there's a hummingbird. There's no way you guys could see it. It's all the way up in the hawthorn tree. Anyways, as I was saying, our weather has changed significantly over time. It was so wet this spring, and then now it's started to turn very dry. So things are showing some signs of needing some water. The grass is not quite as green anymore, but we are, July here, so it is to be expected, at least here in Michigan, unless you're doing irrigation. And I get a lot of questions about irrigation on my channel, about what I do to water. And honestly, I water by hand when I need to. And usually I don't need to do too much of it. But, I think this year I've watered a couple of hydrangeas, maybe 2 or 3 times, just by hand with a watering can. So at any rate, let me show you these. The hydrangeas are still looking great over here, our incredibles. And we have the Rose of Sharon's now in bloom as well, and they look so pretty next to them, don't they? I think that's just a great combination. I do need to come through and do another round of trimming on these privets. They do require frequent trimming, but it's not a lot. I can just come through and get it taken care of in just a few minutes, really. So no big deal. Our strawberry hydrangea over here, or strawberry Sunday hydrangea, is starting to bloom. That's looking lovely on the corner, and our boom chocolata geranium has really filled out again. We'll see if that one puts out any more blooms for us this year. Another one that's beginning to open for us is the strawberry Sunday that's back here. It has a very unique form. And those blooms are going to light up the shade back there for sure. I just love this area right now of the garden with the shades of purple and white between the foliage and the hydrangeas. And as the hydrangeas turn this limey green, it goes along with it very well also. So this is the perfect time to, clip some of the hydrangea blooms when they start to look like this, when they're a little bit limey. It means they've turned a little bit papery, and they won't just melt when you cut them and put them into some water. This pink diamonds hydrangea is just going. It's very, very beautiful. Our hostas in this corner have not been deterred at all by the lack of rain recently. They've just been chugging away, nice and happy with the hellebores and the lungworts. Just really good. I also get a lot of questions about this ground cover under the hawthorn. This is vinca. It has a tendency to take over an area, so if you are planting it somewhere, be sure it's in a contained area because it will take over your garden bed in a heartbeat. But it's a wonderful evergreen ground cover. Our Croce Regal looks amazing with the Brunnera next to it, doesn't it? It's a beautiful blue and silver combination there. And our Sum and Substance hostas were putting out blooms, but I have since come through and trimmed those off, just as a little tidy up. Now I have left the striptease ones because I did not want to use the same clipper on these as I did my other hosta. If you've been following my channel, you know I have had some virus X in some of my striptease hostas that I've had to remove. So I don't want to transmit that from one plant to another if I cut the bloom off. So I will do that separately and make sure that I use alcohol to wipe down the blades when I'm done. So things are looking really nice in the shade garden. Still happy. The only area that is quite dry are these Brunneras over here. So they are showing some signs of wilt right now. And I may come through and give them a little bit of water because we do not have any rain in the forecast within the next few days. Our little hottie hydrangea here has some buds forming, so that's exciting to see. And this is one of the hydrangeas that I did water, this Bloomstruck hydrangea. The blooms are really pretty on it, very purpley. They're even more blue than they look on the camera. Our phlox are starting to open. These are some Laura phlox. And again, this bed, for whatever reason, does tend to get quite dry. So this bed, sometimes I do have to water, and I get out my retractable hose that is like over 100 feet long and just drag it all the way over here and give it a good soak. So yeah, there's not a lot of mystery behind my watering. It's just I have to do it by hand when I need to have something watered. As you can see, the can-do hydrangea is looking really beautiful in this area as well. Now that one I have watered once. I noticed it was starting to wilt a little bit, not just in the midday, but even into the evening. But this one has bloomed so well for me. A gorgeous pink color. Here we have some more of those Laura phlox beginning to bloom. And this bed has some beautiful ornamental grass in the front along with a geranium. And that ornamental grass is a type of pennisetum. I'm not sure exactly which kind, but we'll have some very nice fluffy blooms in the fall, or seed heads. The hosta border back there is just glowing. The sun is just at the right angle, isn't it? It's hitting those August moon hydrangeas, or sorry, the August moon hostas. And our firelight is really blooming now. This firelight hydrangea is almost in full bloom. The bees have loved all the hydrangeas. And I did come through and trim a few blooms off of the August moon hostas here. Not a lot. They don't have a tendency to have a ton of blooms, so I kind of like that because I prefer that my hostas are primarily foliage. I'm happy that they give flowers to the pollinators, but honestly, if they didn't bloom, I wouldn't be too sad. Hopefully we'll get some rain this week, later on this week. It's going to be quite a few days though, I think. Well, our daylilies, we still have some buds that are waiting to open. They are not open so much right now. We had a few blooms today, and some of them are obviously closing as the sun is setting here. But you can see we still have lots of buds all over them. And these tend to deadhead themselves fairly well, but usually every day I come through. I didn't today. Usually every day though I do come through and just pick off the spent blooms so that they look nice and tidy. I just didn't happen to get to it today. I've been painting some of the parts of our deck that needed another coat of stain. So that had to take priority. We're actually getting a few buds on our chives. We're going to get some more blooms on those. So if you cut them back, expect that you might get another small set of blooms. Our quick fire right here is starting to set some color on it. There's a little bit of pink starting to form on this. We've had some cooler nights in the 60s, and that does help them to form some color. We're starting to get some blooms on this strawberry Sunday hydrangea. It's almost time for me to trim the topiaries again. They are starting to show signs of new growth, kind of spiking out. So that's usually when I decide to come through and give them a prune. I did give a recent prune to these limoncello barberries underneath of the snowball viburnum here, but they're just continuing to grow. They don't mind the heat or the dryness too much. Look at the beautiful dragonfly. It's sitting on the trellis back there. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. Here we have another strawberry Sunday hydrangea. Its blooms are almost fully open. And we have lots of Pure Joy sedum down along the edge of the rocks right now that are putting on some of the buds. So we'll be seeing those flower. And I did take some cuttings this year just to kind of spread it around a little bit more. And then also opening right now are our alliums, the Millennium alliums. So they're just starting to open, and these are a pollinator magnet for sure. So I'm looking forward to seeing, what happens when those open, because that will be when I know just for sure about how many pollinators we have in the garden. Here's our limelight, still working to put on its blooms. This mum is so huge, you guys. It's going to be massive by the time that it blooms. It's probably almost 2 feet tall right now. And I did cut it back. I cut it back hard. But it's too late to cut it back now anymore. So we're just gonna let it grow, and we'll be seeing it bloom here in the fall. So still waiting on some blooms on this side of the quick fire, which is funny because this is the south side of the quick fire, faces the sun all day long. Its blooms just have not been the same this year for some reason. I'm not sure why. Not as many of them, and they're not as big either. So very interesting on that plant. However, I will say that the blooms on these incredible hydrangeas over here have continued to get bigger and bigger, and they are looking amazing. Just massive. Oh, I just saw a hawk fly by. That was cool. This one, for instance, is just as tall as me. So 5 feet tall. Amazing. And very sturdy. And they look great despite our lack of rain. So yeah, happy with how those have performed this year. Another hydrangea that has been late to bloom and is doing that kind of funny bloom thing is this berry white hydrangea. This one is just starting to bloom, and it's getting these very small little leaves. If I figure out what's going on with these hydrangeas, I'll let you know, but really I feel like it has something to do with the weather and how cool it was this spring maybe, and how wet it was, and then now dry. I don't know. I've had them for quite a number of years, probably about 5 years, and they've never done this before, so new to me. Let me know if you know what it is, or if yours are doing something similar. We'd all like to know and share information in the comments. We all learn from each other, don't we? And here, this strawberry sundae also. This one doesn't have any blooms, and it has the teeny tiny leaves on it as well. Very strange. So this area of the garden is looking good. Our burning bush has not put on a ton of growth since we pruned it back this last time, which is great. However, this viburnum has, so in the spring it will definitely have some new growth to bloom on next year. Our liatris hedge is still blooming, and the bees are still just really, really going to town on it and loving it. Mostly bumblebees. So it's probably halfway done now. Can you see all the bees still on them? They are just everywhere. Well, friends, the coneflower garden is looking amazing. I just had a hummingbird buzz right by my head. Probably the same one I just saw earlier. It keeps distracting me. I don't know if you can see either. My neighbor has some crocosmia blooming over there. Lots and lots of blooms on that. But yeah, the coneflowers are looking fantastic. Along with the grasses back here. They're going to put on some seed heads soon. And they're going to be beautiful. Right now, I'm hoping that they take their time. I want summer to slow down a little bit. It feels like it's going by kind of fast now. I did give these coneflowers a little bit of a water today, which is surprising because coneflowers don't usually need much water, but this garden bed was very dry. This garden bed is having most of its water taken up by the tree right now. Well, hello, Cardinal. I see you up there. I don't know if you can see the cardinal in the tree. Right up in there. Oh. All right, we have some daylilies blooming out here, along with the coneflowers. Beautiful pink. That goes really well with the coneflowers. And the Gara is blooming as well right now. And the little gold star rudbeckia. So this bed is looking quite good. It's doing really well right now. It's got some alliums also that have not opened out here. They're a little further behind the ones in the back garden. But we have some of those in here that are going to be opening up soon. This year has been the year of construction around our house. We're actually going to have, our road is going to be paved here soon. So hopefully it doesn't put out too much dust and construction debris for us. Look at our bobo hydrangea. Isn't that pretty? So I swear the blooms of the tiny quickfire are very reminiscent of the bobo hydrangea blooms. And I think that's why I like the tiny quickfire so much. Because I just think that the bobo hydrangeas are so delicate and beautiful. And I just love the way that the buds form on them. We have some sedum out here, some autumn joy sedum that's going to bloom. And the veronica along the pathway is definitely showing much more color this week than it was last week. Just a beautiful lavender blue. It's almost a sky blue with a hint of lavender in it. So pretty. Well, our goldfinch daisies are just about going over here. We're going to need to give them a cut back soon. But they don't look too ugly given that they're over. They still look pretty from kind of a distance, if you will. So I'm not in a super rush to clean them up. Once they turn brown, I will definitely want to ensure that I've got them cleaned up. Our bobo hydrangeas on this side are also starting to bloom. We have some coneflowers as well that are blooming in this garden bed on either side of the jet stream oak leaf hydrangea. And also some alliums that have not yet started blooming. So those are coming soon. Our Veronica's looking a little sad right now, so I may cut that back even further than I did. But the mums are looking great. They're looking like they're getting ready to bud up soon. All right, well, let's take a look over here at the shade garden. All right, well, sorry about that. I am not picking up where I left off, but the camera overheated, so here we are in the shade garden and just looking at the Cape Lookout hydrangeas right now, and they're really not blooming, which is unfortunate. I do have one bloom, a white bloom, and that's it. So we'll see if they put on buds, if they're going to be really late bloomers this year, or if I just need to give them more fertilizer next year or something. I'm not sure why they're not happy. Well, our green tower boxwood has done really well being potted up in this planter, so hopefully it will continue to do well. I continue to pinch back any new green growth that I see on the cluster bellflower that had its roots entwined with it, and so far so good. And our firelight hydrangea out here is starting to put on some beautiful blooms. Last year it didn't bloom, so that's exciting. And the shade garden is doing quite well. We were just in here the other day doing our deadheading, and unfortunately I found out that I missed one stem as I was walking out here this morning. I noticed one on the big blue hosta, unfortunately, but that happens. There's an awful lot of them, aren't there? So let's take a look over here at our blue corner. I'm loving our fuzzy Niagara Falls dwarf white pines here. They still have a little bit of yellow tinge in them, but they are turning more and more blue every week. And the blue shadow fothergilla has been fantastic. It's just continued to do really well this year. I'm not sure if it's just because of the extra rain that it got or what, but it's been very happy, so I'm really pleased with that. It is time to come through and deadhead my lavender, so I'll have to get on that. I probably should have done that already this week, but it will come. I'm excited to show you guys the phlox down here in the little brick border. But we do have some buds on this limelight hydrangea. So that's exciting too. That one didn't have blooms on it last year either. So let's take a look at the phlox. Aren't those amazing? They are incredibly bright, so easy to see all the way from the street. Just gorgeous. What a wonderful bright color, and it looks great with the hosta blooms back behind it, doesn't it? And we're still continuing to get a wonderful pop of color over here with the daylilies and the hypericum. Look at that. That is summer fire right there. And we're starting to see some blooms on these mums right here. The quickfire, you guys, it's gonna bloom for its first year. This quickfire was one I grew just from a small cutting, so I can't wait to see it bloom. All right, well, I hope you have enjoyed this garden tour. I hope you are staying cool and enjoying your summer. Let me know again in the comments if you guys are seeing some strange things with your panicle hydrangeas this year, or if it's just me. Just curious. So thank you again for joining me, and we'll see you next time.